On today's Royally Us, there is a break-in at Windsor Castle as King Charles steps out for the Gladiator premiere. Plus, the Princess of Wales' Christmas concert is on, Prince Andrew is under stress, and we have the reason why William may not be able to fly with Prince George. And is there tension between William and Charles? Robert Hardman gives us an inside look at what their relationship looks like right now.
I think there's a sort of healthy separation. There's a sort of sense of one generation doesn't really like to tell the next generation what to do.
We've got that plus so much more in today's Royally Us. Hey everyone, and welcome to Royally Us. I'm Christina, flying solo this week, but we have a lot of news to get into, so let's get right to it. So let's start with the investigation that is underway following an attempted break-in at a farm on the Windsor Castle property, which reportedly took place while Prince William and Princess Kate Middleton were nearby. According to multiple outlets, two men scaled a 6-foot fence on the night of October 13th and used a stolen truck to crash through a security gate at Shaw Farm, one of the working farms on the Windsor Castle grounds. The now destroyed gate is frequently used by William and Kate as it is their closest to their Adelaide Cottage residence. The couple are believed to have been home with their children at the time of the incident. Per the spokesperson, no arrests have been made at this stage and an investigation is ongoing. The Sun previously reported that armed police were removed from the two public entrances of Windsor. An alarm may have been triggered during the burglary, but the clearest sign of trouble was the smashed security gate. This is very scary, especially with the family being home at the time. You know, I'm sure they have a lot of beefed up security, but to have a break-in like that while you're kind of just in your own residence, I'm sure it was very alarming, and I'm sure security is definitely heightened at this point. All right, well, King Charles is feeling proud about his wife, Queen Camilla's latest project. The British monarch gushed about Camillas' new documentary, Her Majesty the Queen, behind closed doors at a reception celebrating the film and TV charity on November 13th. Charles was joined by Camilla at the event where they spoke with many famous faces, including actor Damian Lewis. According to The Telegraph, Damian informed Charles that he had watched Camilla's documentary, which highlights her work raising awareness about domestic violence and sexual abuse and supporting survivors. He said, "It's very moving, isn't it?" And which Charles replied, "I think BAFTA, which is the British Academy of Film and Television Arts, are interested in it." During the reception, Charles also told Corinne Deerfield and Naveed Chowdhury-Flatt, who directed and produced the film, that he was moved to tears by a preview he saw of it. He said, "I am very proud of it. It reduced me to tears." Though Camilla was in attendance at the reception, she did not accompany Charles to the London premiere of Gladiator 2 that night. The Queen has canceled a number of recent public appearances due to an ongoing chest infection. And like we said, King Charles appeared to be in good spirits during the royal meet and greet with the cast of the Gladiator sequel. He happily greeted Gladiator 2 stars Pedro Pascal, Denzel Washington, Paul Mescal, and Connie Nielsen at the film's London premiere on November 13th. He was photographed arriving at the theater in Leicester Square and seated in the back of a black car. Sporting a black tuxedo and bow tie, he shook hands with all the actors, all sharply dressed and a bit starstruck, as well as director Ridley Scott. So definitely a jam-packed day for King Charles, but we always like to see them at these big premieres. Of course, they attend these premieres because they are patrons of the arts and Prince William is, of course, affiliated with BAFTA. So we always look for these red carpet moments. But I'm sure, yes, like we said, he's very supportive of Queen Camilla. This has been a lot of hard work, and this is one of her biggest championships that she does because she's very passionate about survivors of domestic violence and telling their stories. So this is definitely going to be a must watch. But in the midst of all this, she has definitely had a tough week because she revealed that her rescue dog Beth has died. The palace shared the news on November 18th, featuring a tender tribute and carousel of photos of the Queen with her pet. She wrote a sad farewell to Beth, the Queen's much-loved companion, and she went on to say that it brought so much joy, whether on walks, helping on official duties, or curled up by the fire. People magazine reported that Beth had an untreatable tumor and had to be put down over the weekend. So sad when you lose a member of the family, so I'm sure that she was a trusted companion for many years, and our hearts go out to Queen Camilla during this time. All right, well, this is something to definitely look forward to because Princess Kate's annual Together at Christmas Carol service will return this holiday season. They teased on Instagram on November 13th that something exciting is coming. They said the invitations are fresh off the press for this year's Together at Christmas Carol service, which will be returning to Westminster Abbey on Friday, December 6th. The note added, "We can't wait for you to join us too. Tune in on ITV and ITVX Official on Christmas Eve." Alongside the caption, Kate and William uploaded a video of the event's official invitations being printed. The stationery was embossed with the Princess of Wales's official monogram, the letter C underneath the tiara symbol. So looking forward to this. This is always such a wonderful event. Of course, we remember when Princess Kate got behind the piano and showed off her piano skills a few years ago. So it's nice to see her getting back to a little bit of normalcy. Glad that she is feeling well enough to put this concert on, because we look forward to it every single year. All right, well, Prince Harry made an appearance at the 2024 Grey Cup Festival. Harry spoke with TSN on the sidelines of the Grey Cup on November 17th in Vancouver, ahead of the game between Toronto and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He was joined by Invictus Games competition Wendy. Harry was in Vancouver to promote the Invictus Games, which will be taking place in the city, as well as Whistler from February 8th to February 16th of next year. He told TSN it's our 10-year anniversary this year, which is really exciting. The Invictus movement started back in 2014. It's a sporting platform used for the rehabilitation and support for wounded soldiers, serving, and veterans. We have 25 nations growing all the time. It's really an opportunity for the individuals themselves and their families to heal and rehabilitate. We love the Invictus Games. It is such a wonderful celebration of veterans and service members, and Harry has been pouring his life into this for the past 10 years and looking forward to it going to Vancouver, because I'm sure it's going to be a great celebration. All right, well, let's move on over and spill some royalty, because Prince Andrew's family is really worried about him after recent reports claim that King Charles has financially cut off the disgraced royal. A source recently told Us Weekly it's been a hard few months for Andrew. The insider noted that Andrew is barely leaving the house and is generally very lost in where his life has gone. Now, earlier this month, royal author Robert Hardman released Charles III, New King, New Court, The Inside Story, which claimed that Charles revoked Andrew's annual personal allowance. While the specific amount was not disclosed, it was reported to be roughly $1 million, according to the Daily Mail. The book also claimed that the palace will no longer finance Andrew's security detail, which Charles has reportedly been funding since 2022. A source adds that right now it's a sanctuary for him to be away from the world and try to get himself feeling better. Can't say we really feel bad for Prince Andrew, but like we reported last week, he is digging in his heels. He does not want to leave and trying every which way to come up with the money himself. So we'll see what happens. Well, as King Charles continues his cancer battle, plans for his son Prince William to succeed him are underway. Sources shed light on how the inevitable changing of the guard is causing tension behind palace doors in the new issue of Us Weekly. A source tells us the subject of Charles's succession is a delicate one, adding that it's a sensitive topic and there's occasional tension. They also note that the conversations about the inevitable changing of the guard are approached with discretion and purpose. William is ready to bring new, younger energy to the crown, and a source adds that modern times call for a modern monarchy, and William has been active in getting that together. We hear that maybe he'll take on fewer patronages, but focus more on the issues most important to him and Kate, like the environment, mental health, and homelessness. All right, well, let's break down the royal rules, and we have more from our conversation with Robert Hardman about how William and Charles's dynamic is looking right now. Take a look. How have William and Charles's relationship evolved over this past year?
Well, I mean, I think they're probably stronger now than they've been in a long time, because there's various sort of points of mutual understanding. There's always history's always shown tensions between the monarch and the heir. I mean, you've only got to read Shakespeare to see that. So actually, in those terms, the relationship between King Charles and Prince William it's a very strong one. I mean, they do differ on various points of view, whether it's things like organic farming or the sort of approach to the royal way of doing things. I mean, it's a generational thing. They have different tastes. The king likes sitting and writing his letters with Wagner playing in the background, and Prince William likes AC/DC and the Chemical Brothers. So that's there's sort of just a different way of coming at it. But I think the fundamental approach to the role is the same. But obviously going through all this, that's brought them closer together. I mean, the previous year you had the challenges of a lot of the noises coming from California, from the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, and that was again something that I think has brought them together. And you know, ever since really the death of the late Queen, everyone's had to readjust to the kind of the new now.
Is William one of Charles's biggest advisors, do you think?
No, I think there's a sort of healthy separation. There's a sort of sense of one generation doesn't really like to tell the next generation what to do.
Yeah.
There is a sense of you're left to your own devices. And certainly when Prince Charles was Prince Charles, before he became king, you know, there would be tensions between you know, his team and the senior team, the Queen's team, because you know, like I said, each generation likes to do things differently, and they might want to come at a particular issue in a different way. So that, you know, there will be differences, but I mean, obviously the overall institutional aim is the same, just to keep the show on the road.
Yeah, right. It seems like, you know, they are close and they kind of bounce ideas off one another, but they are very different in their own way, which makes sense. All right, well, let's move on to our royal history moment of the week. After recent news that the king plans to turn Balmoral into a wedding venue, the Telegraph reported that in addition to the property in Scotland that was Queen Elizabeth's happy place, Charles wants to also build a new wedding venue at his Scottish home, Dumfries House. The state-of-the-art facility at Dumfries House will provide high-end wedding packages. Now, this is according to the Telegraph, and will be an upgrade from the current offerings at the historic house. At the moment, weddings are held in the tapestry room, and receptions take place in a marquee erected on the grounds behind the East Wing. However, the tented structure is thought to detract from the character of the A-listed building. This follows news in October that a building on the Balmoral estate, the Queen's Building, is due to be upgraded for weddings, dinners, meetings, and other events, though a spokesperson for Balmoral said that there are no plans for the estate to host weddings as a commercial venture. Well, we know that Charles is finding other ways to bring in some revenue and opening up some of these homes, including Buckingham Palace, to more visitors. So it seems like, you know, weddings, I mean, I would love to get married at Balmoral. I mean, that sounds absolutely fantastic and a dream come true. So I'm sure a lot of people will flock to these open invitations. All right, let's wrap things up with our pint-sized palace. And according to Hello Magazine, there's an understanding within the British royal family that two heirs typically shouldn't travel on the same flight. While Prince William and his oldest son traveled together to Australia in 2014, Canada in 2016, and Germany in 2017, things could change once Prince George turns 12 in 2025. Former royal pilot Graham Laurie said on an episode of Hello's A Right Royal podcast, up until age 12, they probably thought it will be too much for him traveling on his own, but nevertheless, that's what they did. To further prove security is a reason behind the guidelines, Laurie recalled when his aircraft was painted red, white, and blue before officials changed the color scheme in 2002 to look more like a normal airliner. In his career, Laurie was able to help transport King Charles, Princess Diana, Prince William, Prince Harry on family trips together, and they began to change, however, when Prince William reached a certain milestone. He said, "The ones I did, which were holiday flights, mainly were the ones that when the Waleses went to the Mediterranean, but interestingly, we flew all four, the King, the Princess, Prince William, and Prince Harry, up until when Prince William was 12 years old. After that, he had to have a separate aircraft, and we could only fly all four together when they were young with written permission of Her Majesty." According to Laurie, King Charles can't fly with the Prince of Wales today. Very interesting, but you know, for security reasons and security measures, it does make sense. I believe it was in Robert Hardman's book that Prince William wanted to fly his family on a helicopter, and Queen Elizabeth was very much against it. So it seems like this is all for security precautions. All right, well, that is it for this week's episode of Royally Us. Lots of news that we had to get to, and I'm sure it's just going to keep on rolling into the holiday season. But keep commenting, keep subscribing, and we'll see you next week.